It's working. Hey everyone. Okay, so yeah, I might take like 30 seconds to start this stream off kind of slow here, because I tried to schedule the stream so that you guys would know when to tune in, and obviously, rookie mistake. I did two test streams back in Ireland, but I didn't test it scheduled. Obviously, assuming it would work. Turns out it doesn't work, okay? When I try to schedule a stream, it just got frozen on going live. You might have heard me castrating Blizzard for, not castrating, castigating, Blizzard for not working. But anyway, we're live now, and you guys watching the VOD, this should work for you. I'm trying to wedge my phone. You guys, I'll show you guys, right? This is the unprofessional setup. You guys are wedged on like a big fucking pile of pillows. I should also stop swearing, because that will probably hurt the SEO, won't it? This will be demonetized if I swear. No more swearing! Gosh darn it. Alright, if I wedge you guys in there, hey, it's not exactly the beauty angle, but you can see me. It wouldn't let me test this out first, but yeah. How many pages of the notebook have I filled? Oh, actually, I'll show you that. My really untidy notes. So these are my notes. It's mostly just fucking spider diagram. Oh, stop swearing. I started writing on this line page, Blizzard line page, and I was like, blank page is better. And then I have more stuff there as well. So I've got like about 4 pages of stuff to discuss. Okay, I might just hold the phone and tilt it so that it doesn't go wonky ways, and then I'll put it down when I want to have some coffee. So yeah, let's talk about BlizzCon. So yeah, BlizzCon Day 1 was today. Loads of news for different games. I'm only going to talk about Heroes of Storm stuff in today's stream though. And we got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to go through it in something of a set order, and then I'll respond to some questions and comments as we go. And then I'll probably do a little bit of section at the end of the stream, just answering whatever questions you want to ask me. I'm going to do a stream tomorrow as well. So the stuff that I saw today and was announced today, first of all, we had 2 new heroes announced for Heroes of the Storm, Hanzo and Alexstrasza. And we had a trailer to go along with them. So I'll start with the trailer first. All right. And I'm going to give pros and cons for everything at this event and give you my opinion, right? So we had an animated trailer to announce Hanzo and Alexstrasza. And I loved like one bit of the trailer, and although I've seen everyone else really likes it, I didn't actually like the main bit of the trailer, the main animated bit, all that much, which might be kind of crazy. But basically, Hanzo and Alexstrasza, they're fighting. They say some inane stuff to each other. She turns into a dragon. He starts shooting her, misses most of his shots. Then he hits her with his heroic, his ultimate. And then he's like, I'm going to kill you. And then she turns back into human. And then they're friends again. And yeah, then we've got the end bit, which I really liked. But for the most part, I was kind of like, I don't know, it did nothing for me, right? Because the action just did nothing for me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Because going into it, what I wanted to see, so cheesy, right? But what I wanted to see was, Hanzo to be like, the dragon becomes you, or something like that. Something about, the dragon. And then Alexstrasza's like, I think that's a dragon, and then she turns into a dragon, and he's like, whoa, shit, and yeah, I wanted that for the trailer, which is not the direction that they went, but yeah, so, anyway, but what I did love was the very end of the trailer, where it showed kind of like the Nexus, and all the different worlds, and like these portals, the different battlegrounds. I was like, okay, now that was awesome. More of that, like, because it's something I felt is a bit lacking, is, the concept of the Nexus is just kind of there, but I was like, fleshing that out as an actual thing, I'm like, that could be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so that was one of the big things. People are asking how big was, I'll come to the stealth things, I will, don't worry, I'll come to voice chat and stealth changes, don't worry, I'll cover everything. People are asking how packed and how busy BlizzCon was. It's super packed there. Well, it's super busy. There's loads of people there. But the really nice thing is the venue is so nice. Like, it's huge. It's really spacious inside. So that although there's tons of people there, you never feel like crowded in. It's not claustrophobic at all. There's actually quite a lot of physical space. Like the halls are just very large. So yeah, that was something I thought was nice. You don't feel squashed in. It's actually really, the AC is great. The air conditioning, it's not too hot. It doesn't smell. You know, although the bad things I've heard about conventions before, for example, I think Gamescom or Comic Con sometimes maybe, if you know, it's like, it's hot, sweaty nerds, smelly, sweaty nerds. It's not like that at all, which is great. It's an amazing venue. It's fantastic. So I do have to say that. In fact, I've got a media pass, right? We're in as media. So there were media sections roped off in the main hall, which is called the Mythic Hall, and it's absolutely massive. But that filled to the brim. It was over full for the opening ceremony. I went to the toilet like half an hour before, and then I made the foolish mistake of stopping and wandering around a bit. And when I came back, they wouldn't let me back in. So I ended up actually watching the opening ceremony in the Overwatch arena, which is amazing. It looks so good. It's like this circular arena with like the circular stage, and then like these tiers of seats all around. It's so cool. And because I was kind of late getting there, they brought me through they brought me through a way they shouldn't have, like this back way, and I got to see all of like the tech guys and stuff prepping for the press conference. Not the press conference, but the ceremony and everything like that, and the esports events. And I was like, ooh, look at that! I want to press these shiny buttons. What did they do? But yeah, so we had that. We had the trailer. We got the two heroes. I've got to play. I was in the Overwatch arena. It's really cool. And I was sitting behind for a little bit. Was he like IDQD, DQ? I don't know who he is, but he's some famous player. I recognized the name. I was like, I've heard of you, and you're really good, probably. But yeah, I don't really know much about Overwatch. Yeah, IDDQD, that's him. I was sitting behind him for a little while. But funny enough, actually, because I was in the Overwatch arena, for the heroes announcements, I was like Hanzo and Alexstrasza. I was like, they probably don't care about Alexstrasza, but they love Hanzo. But actually, they went nuts for Alexstrasza. Like, people were going crazy. I didn't think people knew Alexstrasza that well. But apparently they do, because people were going absolutely crazy for Alexstrasza. And then they went absolutely crazy for Hanzo. And the place, like, erupted when Hanzo did his ultimate, of course. Everyone went crazy. It was amazing. But yeah, I got to play Hanzo. I haven't got to play Alexstrasza yet. But yeah, I got to play Hanzo. And Hanzo's cool. He's pretty simple, honestly. Hanzo's pretty simple. A few of the things that really struck me from playing Hanzo, so he's a ranged assassin. His basic attacks are really slow, all right? Really slow. You've got this massive gap between your basic attacks, but you're kind of threading your Q ability in particular through that. Your Q ability is this big wind-up shot. You start drawing your bow back. It's this really narrow skill shot, and it gets longer and longer the more you charge it up. And you can hold it fully charged if you want. Okay, so you can kind of prep the charge shot going into a fight or getting in the perfect position to hit someone with this poke. So kind of the rhythm of Hanzo is firing a basic attack, and then weaving in one of your abilities, probably the big charge shot in between, because you've got such a long cooldown on your basic attack. But yeah, his Q is this wind up, skill shot ability. It's got like a 4-second cooldown, which is really short. It's got a very small mana cost as well. So yeah, poking is going to be a huge part of his kit. I actually think Hanzo fits really well into heroes. I mean, he's just a ranged assassin with lots of poke, really. It's one of the things I was talking about in terms of heroes and transitioning them between games like Overwatch to Heroes of the Storm. Do they work well? And one of the things that I said in one of my previous videos was... sorry, I got a finger on the camera. There we go. Let me move that. I wanted this to be stable, but it's not. Like, it just falls when I don't hold it, so I'll hold it over here. So one of the big things was that... let's say with Tracer, I feel like Tracer doesn't translate perfectly into Heroes of the Storm because all of her mobility is very good against heroes that are skill shot based, whereas heroes with point and click abilities are really good against Tracer. So I feel like that made Tracer in Heroes of the Storm, as opposed to Overwatch where everything is basically a skill shot, it's aiming. That made her transition a bit problematic. Whereas I think Hanzo, actually, in Heroes of the Storm, alleviates a lot of the problems for Hanzo that people have in Overwatch, where in Overwatch, because you're firing arrows, they travel with the travel speed and they've got a curve. So the arrows have a really large hitbox in Overwatch, is my understanding. So it's fairly easy to hit people with the arrows. So that can be somewhat frustrating, I think, the idea of these Hanzo mains who just spam arrows and then they randomly hit you, kind of feeling like there. Whereas in Heroes of the Storm, you don't have that. In fact, his skill shots are quite narrow. So I think there's actually going to be quite a bit of skill and precision in terms of playing Hanzo. So I think he translates to Heroes really well, and he's just going to be like a fun, pokey assassin. So his Q is this big wind-up skill shot. His W is scatter arrow, so you shoot this arrow. If it hits the wall, so let's say this is the wall, I'll do it like this. If you hit the wall like here, it will bounce off like this. If you hit the wall like sideways, it will bounce off in a flatter pattern. So there's a lot of skill in that in terms of setting it up, doing it into kind of narrow choke points. Then his E is kind of like Rexar's Flare on steroids. You've got then the Dragon Strike Heroic, which is like this big line skill shot that does lots of damage to people standing in it. It does bonus damage. I think it's like double damage to people standing in the center. If the W hits nothing, it just does nothing. It doesn't split. It has to hit a wall to split. I think if it hits a hero, it doesn't split either. It just does direct damage. Yeah, I'll answer when they're going live in a second. Sorry, I want to hold this hand, so you're gonna have to deal with maybe some camera finger, maybe a little bit. I'll try not to. Then his second heroic, okay. Oh, his trait lets you jump over walls, but it's got like a 25-second cooldown. And then his other heroic, I only got a brief chance to look at it, but it looks like a global stun. So you fire this arrow and it will stun the first hero it hits if it hits someone. And I think the stun is more powerful the longer the arrow flies. Not entirely sure on that. I'll get back to you guys tomorrow with more details on that and on Alexstrasza. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But yeah, he looks really great. I played him on Braxis, where he's really nice because he's immobile. I was just like sitting back and shooting my arrows at people and scattershotting through the hold points. It's great fun. So Hanzo looks really good. Alexstrasza looks amazing as well. So I was sitting beside Kendrick, and Kendrick played Alexstrasza. I played Hanzo. And he said like she feels fantastic. She's really cool. She can turn into a dragon on a very long cooldown with her trait. She has like a global escapee artillery type ability as one of her heroics. So yeah, I'll play her myself and I'll bring you guys tomorrow. I'll talk about Alexstrasza in detail when I've actually got to play her. But she seems really super duper cool, basically, is my thoughts on that. So they're the two new heroes. All right, let's talk about the other changes to heroes. There's some really big things. Okay, we've got massive changes to stealth, we've got massive changes to laning, we've got voice chat, and we've got performance-based matchmaking instead of just win-loss based. So yeah, let's talk about. Oh, we've also got a few other things as well from the final panel that they just did. Let's talk about voice chat first. So voice chat's coming to Heroes of the Storm, and apparently it's going to be like the same type thing as the Overwatch voice chat. So you can opt into voice chat. You automatically join when you join a party. You'll join the party voice chat, or it'll give you the option to. When you just join a regular game, it'll be like, would you like to join the team voice chat? You can join it if you want. You don't have to. So yeah, the voice chat's built in, and we got to test it out. You can see it's in the top right-hand corner. You can see who's speaking. You can adjust in the scoreboard the volume of people. You can mute people. You can do whatever you want with it, basically. So is voice chat, how good? So how good is voice chat? So I played a bit of Overwatch ranked. All right. Sorry for the finger. Deal with it. I played some ranked Overwatch. And I had a really interesting experience because I didn't really know anything about Overwatch. So I placed really high relative to my skill level. I placed in like Diamond. And then, or I placed like, I was playing with like Diamond people and placements. Then I think I placed at the top of Platinum, and then I fell down to Gold. And my experience in Overwatch was that voice chat was actually really good in Diamond, that people tried to coordinate strategies. They're like, let's do this, let's try this, I'm going here, they've used these ultimates, let's use these. There was actual strategy, and then as I fell down the ranks in Overwatch, voice chat very rapidly became totally useless. I would say by about halfway down diamond, absolutely 100% by the time I got to gold. Voice chat was totally and utterly useless. I will tell you this for a fact. I played a few games, a good few games maybe, at gold level of Overwatch. The only thing voice chat was ever used for was people would say like maybe hello at the start of the game. Then they say absolutely nothing until you like people die or you start losing the game, and then they just flame. Like that was literally all that voice chat was used for. So I think there is a concern, it's not going to be this perfect world, right? That's my concern with voice chat. I think it would be superb for Team League. I think it would be fantastic when you're playing with friends. Great. But in terms of your solo queue Hero League experience, it will be very good if you're like Diamond or higher. It might be good in some Platinum games, but if you're expecting amazing coordination and that suddenly people are going to get on and be playing well together at like Platinum or below, I don't believe that's going to happen, just from my experience of the very similar case in terms of Overwatch. I don't see that really working. I just see it's probably mostly going to be used to flame. And then also the fact that it is opt-in, opt-out, that people aren't automatically in the voice chat. People might just not, they might just not sign in. And then what? Because how can you shot call for your team in voice if like two of the players aren't in voice chat? It's like, okay, guys, in that case, you don't really want to communicate in voice because half your team might not be on the same board. You might be like, let's talk about it. Like, yeah, should we go over? Yeah, let's go to the shrine and we'll fight on the shrine and then we'll back up. Well, what if half your team doesn't hear you saying that and decides to do the other thing? So that's something of a risk. However, I do think it's obviously a great addition to the game. I wouldn't overhype it too much, especially for solo queue. I think it's a great addition for Team League, especially, because people ought to be using it for Team League, one thinks. It'd be great for playing with friends. Won't be fantastic for solo queue, though. But, I mean, maybe it'd be wrong. Maybe it'd proven wrong. It'd be nice to see how it goes. But, yeah, that was voice chat. I mean, functionally, it works great, as far as I could tell. You got nice little options. So, yeah, that's kind of what I thought about the voice chat. Let's talk about, so we've got, what will I talk about next? Let's talk about performance-based. While we're on the topic of things that could work really well or could work really badly, let's talk about performance-based matchmaking. So this is a new thing that Blizzard is going to be implementing. Whereas at the moment, your matchmaking rating, which is basically where the game sits down and says, this is how good you are, which they use across all game modes, not versus AI, but like Quick Match, Unranked, Hero League, Team League as well. It's purely based on when you win, your matchmaking rating goes up. When you lose, it goes down. And it changes more at the start of the season. And that's how it works. So when you get, for example, at the end of your Hero League game, you get like 197 points, plus 200 for win, minus 3 personal adjustment. Personal adjustment is your matchmaking rating. That's the game saying you are at this level, and we'll try to bring you one way or the other. So at the moment, it's purely based on win-loss. You lose, it goes down. You might go down less MMR if you're against a very good team and you're expected to lose. And then if you win, it goes up. They're going to implement a system that how you perform in the game will also increase it. So if you do really well in the game but your team loses, you're not going to lose that much MMR. You might even gain it, I don't know. If your team wins and you were a huge part of winning, you'll get like a whole bunch of bonus matchmaking rating. So the theory that they have, the philosophy behind this change is that it will bring you more quickly to your ideal rating. For example, they said that when you've got large differences between your rank and your skill, between your MMR and your actual skill. So let's say your MMR, the game thinks you're a gold player, you study loads, then you're actually like a diamond player, you improve yourself up to that point, which is unlikely, but sure, on that quickly. You'll climb pretty quickly if there's a big difference. Whereas if you're actually as good as like Diamond 1, but you're in Diamond 3, it will take absolutely ages for you to actually get up to that rank for the MMR system to change. So the purpose of this is to have your matchmaking rating change quicker. So it will recognize your skill or lack thereof faster and get you then better matchmade games. That's the theory behind it. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things happening with this. Some good, some bad. So I think it compares. Yeah, like Niall, I love that comment. I'm goal 5, but I should be master, obviously. Yeah. So there's a few things with this one. I think it's some stuff that could work really well. It's mostly and loosely based on like the MVP system as well. You know, that algorithm that calculates how good you are, and it's tailored differently to different heroes. Or when it gives you that post game statistic that says, it's like you died like 50% less than similar players or something like that. You know, those sort of things. It's all that stuff going on in the background. So the good thing about this is that, yeah, in games where you play really well, it ought to recognize you a bit better. It will adjust more to your performance. That's nice. The concerns that I have, because this leads to a number of potential problems, doesn't it? If it's based off your performance. Just core problem number 1 is that no computer algorithm can possibly determine. It's simply too complicated to actually judge performance. Shake cam intensifies. Yeah, I'm getting excited. All right, I'll put it down. I'm getting excited. But yeah, no algorithm can possibly determine accurately how well you played. I'd say the MVP system is broadly accurate most of the time, but it's not perfect. One example I would give is, let's say I'm playing a game of ETC. We're losing the whole game, so I'm not doing too much. I'm kind of going around. I'm just helping out the team. But I'm not doing anything spectacular. I'm doing a lot of just zoning the enemy team off. Like zoning, the MVP is this. How does a computer calculate you zoned the enemy team off? Like they were too scared to dive your squishies because you were there standing in the bush. It doesn't know that. So there's one aspect. Then, 20 minutes into the game, at the final team fight, I land the perfect mosh pit. Or even better, I dive in, land a mosh pit, they interrupt it, and then they dive in on me to kill me, but I've planned this out. I have death metal. They dive in and kill me, thinking we stop mosh pit. Ooh, I caught them out with death metal, catch the enemy team in death metal. That enables my team to win the team fight, and we win the game. Okay. MVP play, right? I won the game for my team because I made this amazing, really smart play. But the computer algorithm is never going to know that. It will just look and go, okay, you didn't really soak that much XP because you're standing in a bush. You didn't do much damage. It's like, as far as it's concerned, you didn't really do much. You did half a second of, you did 3 seconds of a stun in the final fight. So that's a big concern, I think, is that, it doesn't always recognize that. The other concern, as someone just said in the comment there, it's gone, so I can't see the name, but there's the concern that people might pad their stats. Like, oh shit, right, okay, this is the big concern, I would say. Oh shit, my team is losing. We're doing really badly. My team sucks. Instead of trying and taking risks to come back into the game, you go, oh shit, performance-based matchmaking. If I, try and take risks and I die 5 times, I'm going to lose loads of MMR because I personally perform badly. I'm just going to sit on my ass and I'm just going to passively soak. I'm just going to sit behind my fort. I'm going to shoot at minions and I'm going to get lots of XP and not die because that will pad my stats. That will look really good for the MVP system. And I'm going to get a personal, hey, your team lost, but you played all right. You didn't die. You got XP. That's my big concern there, is that it could legitimately change how people play. You're not playing, because that's the nice thing, I think, about MMOR being based on win/lose, is that the only way to gain MMOR is by winning, the only incentive in the game is to play to win. All of your decisions are based around winning, whereas if it becomes about personal performance as well, this is my concern, and I hope they address this, is that the devil's in the implementation, exactly, is that there is the concern that suddenly it might be the case that you actually sacrifice winning in order to get better personal stats and get that personal adjustment. So that is one potential problem, and I'm not sure exactly how they're going to get around it, but there you go. One question people asked in the question and answer segment was, sorry, a bit shaky cam there, was will they add commendations, you can vote people up and be like, you did great. No, and they said no, that they'd like to, but there's nothing about that in the game yet. So you don't even have that oh yeah, the ETC played really well, it's not recognized by the stats, but we'll all upvote him. So that's not there. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. I expect people will be really happy about performance-based MMR, and then when they realize that, you know, because you'd be like, well, hey, I'm in platinum, but I should be a grandmaster. And this performance-based MMR will finally get me to where I belong. And then it's out for like 3 months, and you're still in platinum. Then people might get a little bit more frustrated. But I don't know about that, you know? I'm being very cynical about it, but that's me. So yeah, I think it has some potential good uses and stuff, but then there's also the potential that it could go really wrong. So that's the performance-based MMR. Okay, next thing is a couple of cool things here, actually. Smaller things, which they announced, not in the big announcement, but in the what's coming up in Heroes panel, which is that there's actually going to be two things here. First one is that they're going to move away from doing big patches. So like we've been getting recently, they do big patch. It's like, okay, boom, you get a new hero, like you get Anna, Volskaya Foundry, we're going to rework like a couple of heroes, balance updates, everything in a big patch. Okay, that's a huge part of my work as well. It's like, ooh, big patch day, big PTR day, got to stay up like several hours to get those videos done and up and everything. They're actually moving away from that. So what they're saying is, instead of doing like one big patch every 3 weeks or so, that they'll do smaller patches. So it'll be like, okay, week 1 you get a hero rework, week 2 you get a new hero, week 3 will give you another hero rework, week 4 we'll have some smaller balance changes, week 5 battleground, so on and so forth. They'll space out the content more, they'll stagger it out, and they're saying that, don't worry, no, but there'd be your local AFK Chen, fantastic. But they're saying that the advantage of this is that they can put more focus on the different reworks and the different releases. So, for example, I thought this was quite nice. Like, okay, well, if like this week it's just one hero rework, they've got more opportunity to create custom art, update, you know, graphics, spell effects when they do a rework for a hero. Put a bit more detail into it instead of being like, we have to have all of the stuff, like 3 hero reworks and a new hero all ready to go for this day. They can space it out more and put some more work into it. I'm not sure exactly how that works out, because surely over time you'd have the same amount of work that needs to be done, but maybe with deadlines being more loose. But yeah, that's what they're saying anyway, and if that works out, then that sounds pretty good. So you have more consistent, steadily delivered content. We'll see how that goes. The other thing, which is interesting too, is they're going to add a target info panel. So you will be able to, in-game, like click on the enemy diva, I think was the example they used. You click on diva, and then you will see up in like the top left, like up here, you'll see like, okay, this is Diva, this is how much HP, how much mana she has, this is how much her basic attack damage does, this is how quickly she attacks, she has this much physical armor, this much magic armor, this is her move speed, yada yada yada. You'll see a whole bunch of detailed info for heroes, for minions, for structures, for mercenaries, for mobs, all that sort of stuff, so that's pretty interesting. I think that's a ways away. It looked fairly rough when they showed it, like it wasn't beautiful, but I think that's like a nice little extra bit just to make info and things like that a bit more clear. Yeah, it's like when you can see an enemy hero stuff in other MOBA games. Yeah, it's quite like that. So that's what they're looking at there. In terms of other hero reworks, I'm going to talk about the other hero reworks, and I'm going to come up to that, the stealth stuff, in a second. But yeah, okay, so full detail. So we got Hanzo, Alex Straza, then there's apparently a Lily rework, but I haven't seen it, but that's what Kendrick said. So apparently Lily is having a rework. And then there's Nova, Valera, Zeratul, and Samuro are all getting pretty big changes. So those are the hero changes. Let's actually go on to that next then. So we got Stealth. Stealth rework. Not just small rework to the heroes, but massive rework to how Stealth fundamentally works in the game. So basically, instead of being a blur, what they're going to have it now, and I've got mixed feelings about this too, is you're not going to see a blur. You'll actually see like this white silhouette of a hero, right? So they're semi-see-through, and then it's like their outline is in white, kind of. It's hard to describe, but yeah, it's like they'll be basically totally visible, you know, when they're in range. Like when you can see them, they'll basically be totally visible. It'll be like Stealth now, where you can't click on them, but you'll see this little white Zeratul walking around the place, and you'll be like, well, there's Zeratul. Interestingly, again, the version that they showed us, you go totally invisible when you stand still. yeah, chat, you guys are pretty much summing up my reaction, where you're like, that doesn't sound that great. And that's kind of what I feel about it too. It's and that's kind of the impression I'm getting from a lot of people, is they're kind of going, hang on a second here. Like, sure, it's stealth, but you can see it really, really easily. Like, it's super obvious when the person, like, extremely obvious. You can pretty much, like, you see Valeria, like, slinking around with her daggers. Like, sure, she's semi-see-through, but, and she doesn't have the nameplate above her, but you still basically see her. It's still extremely easy to see. They don't show up on the mini-map, and they don't have that stuff. You can't click on them with, like, a point and click. Like, Varian can't charge taunt them, but you can hit them with a skill shot. So it's as you can tell, it's a massive change, and because of that, they're going to go and rework like all of the stealth heroes to balance it out, because they're not designed around that anymore. So they're all getting reworks. Some of them probably fairly substantial, some of them maybe not. Unfortunately, the game I got to play, no one took a stealth hero, so I didn't get to see it, and I'm not sure if it's fully implemented yet. But yeah, the theory behind this is they're kind of going, okay, they described it as it's like an eye test, which is, all right, it's like stealth as it is currently in the game, it's kind of like an eye test. It's like, can you see the blur, can't you? Some people have trouble doing it, depending on your monitor, your graphic settings, your frame rate, it might be more difficult as well. So they kind of felt like it's not the best in terms of gameplay, but yeah, they're basically changing it. So the hero they covered today was Nova. Well, not fully covered, they covered her briefly. So in terms of Nova, you're going to have Snipe Master will be a baseline quest now, which I think is cool. Hello, hand covering thing again. So Snipe Master is going to be baseline. Snipe's damage, baseline damage will be lower. So Snipe Master is just a core part of her kit. And they talked about her stealth. She'll have 15% bonus movement speed when she's in stealth. And her trait will be an activatable, put you instantly into stealth. So yeah. That is, I'm licking your fingers. Okay, I'm moving my hand. Thank you for that. Oh my god. But yeah, that's what they're talking about with Nova was one example, and they're going to go into detail about the other 3 stealth reworks tomorrow. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to change all of these heroes. And certainly, I want to reserve judgment myself until I see it in the game. It could be terrible. It could be okay. I'm not too sure, but it's a massive change. Stealth is going to be totally different. Also, all the forts will now reveal stealth. So yeah, there's that. That's a new thing too. Let me go over to that. So that's the stealth stuff. Wait, was there one more thing I wanted to say about stealth? Okay, one more thing I wanted to say about stealth, okay? One more thing I wanted to say about stealth is that when they were going through the philosophy of, yeah, I'll get to the unlimited tower ammo in a second. When they were talking about the philosophy of why they're changing stealth, they were like, we've got a problem with stealth heroes, in that they're really powerful in quick match, barely ever played in competitive, and like never played in pro play. So like we want to change the stealth heroes so that they're more balanced out. And I was like, well, I mean, part of the problem is that quick match versus competitive, and someone asked that in the Q&A. I'll come back to that at the end, but I just pointed out here, I was like, I don't know if the problem is the stealth per se. I think maybe the problem is just more that metas are different. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about laning, towers, all that stuff. Okay, laning, here we go. Big changes here. Oh, number one thing, which isn't directly laning, but the camera, so your view of the game can be zoomed out 20%. So you'll see more on your screen. You're going to see more. It's going to be zoomed out, which is actually going to have a pretty big impact on the meta, because you'll see things like, you'll see that Chromie firing skill shots more, you'll see the Medivh portals more, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, camera, I think it's 20% more zoom out, which is pretty substantial actually. So yeah, it's just, you're going to see a lot more stuff on the screen at all given times. All right, so towers, laning, bunch of changes here. Okay, so change number 1. Big change. None of the buildings have ammo. They all have unlimited ammo. No ammo anymore. Stuff is just gonna shoot forever. So that's big change number 1. Big change number 2. No tower beside fort anymore. It'll be like, wall. It'll be like, the wall with the 2 towers, then the fort, healing fountain. You know that second little tower that's beside the fort? That's gone. No more. It's gone. Bye. See you, tower. You're not there anymore. Number 3, Yeah, well, obviously, all of the talents that remove ammo are gonna be gone as well. Yeah. All right. Change number 3: regen globes. Okay, regen globes. They will be where at the moment regen globes last for 6 seconds and then they're gone. What they're gonna do now, regen globes will last for 4 seconds, and then they will switch to neutral regen globes for another 4 seconds. So for 4 seconds, let's say you kill the caster minion of the enemy's wave, you have 4 seconds, only your team can pick up the regen globe. Then, for the next 4 seconds, the enemy team can pick it up as well. Okay, so that's the next change. And then there's a couple more I'll come back to in a second. So yeah, pretty large changes there, and the intent is to make the laning phase more dynamic and important. So it's pretty interesting, because one of the things they talked about, right, was, they're like, the ideal, and I thought this was really interesting, they're like, okay, at high levels of play, people put like a solo laner, then they have a 4-man team which rotates between 2 lanes, clearing out minions, and then they just push them into, like, they just let them die to the towers or whatever. They don't actually push it in. So what they want to do with this change is make tower damage more important, because it's not just like, we push the minions into the towers, they all die, but they deplete the ammo over time. So going between 2 lanes, we get all the XP, we deplete the ammo, and then we can go in and clear out the towers when they got no ammo, so it's a big win. What they want you to do now instead is to commit more to the lanes, so that you have to actually get tower damage. Because if you push the minions in and they just die to the towers, there's no ammo left to deplete anymore. There's no ammo in the game. It's just unlimited, basically. So you don't get that aspect of it, which I think is interesting, because it could also have the opposite effect. One big effect that this could have, and bear in mind you also can pick up the enemy team's regen globes, is something which is not really, it's probably actually been underutilized in Heroes, is lane control. So people that played other MOBAs would be familiar with this, where you take control, you want to freeze the minion wave. Basically, if you kill the minions at a specific time, in a specific way, you can try to control where the minion wave will sit. So let's say, for example, that you make the minion wave, you freeze it, you try to stop the minion wave like right outside your towers. So the minion wave's really close to your towers, and you just try to keep it there by killing them with the correct amount of control and all that sort of stuff. That way you can scare the enemy hero away. You can be like, yo, you can't come near my towers always have ammo. You can't dive me here. I'm really safe. I'm going to zone you off. Then when my minions die near my towers, 4 seconds later, I can pick up that regen globe. So I'm getting 2 regen globes. I can poke you away. Maybe I even drive you far away enough from my minions you can't get XP. So you could have some sort of gameplay like that, where instead of kind of pushing, the gameplay could be more focused on XP denial, which could be kind of interesting. It certainly would make the laning a lot more complicated in that sense, which would be intriguing. But yeah, I mean, I think this could be a pretty large change in terms of towers don't have ammo anymore. And obviously the strength of that one tower they removed from beside the fort will be baked into the other structures, so you still have that. So yeah, I think that's kind of crazy. And obviously it makes lane bullying a big deal, because if you can bully someone out of the lane, you can take 2 regen globes worth of regen, so you can really start to crush the lane and dominate it. And then, yeah, I mean, then you can push down the towers, and so that's kind of nuts. Thoughts on Vanilla WoW? I'll talk about that maybe tomorrow. So yeah, I'm pretty interested by the changes to the turret ammo. I think that's kind of crazy, actually, and the regen globes. We'll see how it goes. Like, I mean, it's kind of nuts. Also, like I said before, all of the forts will now reveal stealth, because they're like one of the big problems. My stream's getting a little bit laggy, but yeah. One of the big problems is that heroes, like, they're like Murky with Murky's Egg and Abathur. Obviously, you kind of hide between like the fort and all the towers, so the towers help you. So like, well, if we remove the tower, then what happens if Zeratul comes and ganks you? You're really vulnerable. So they're going to give the forts like stealth reveal, and there's also the stealth rework, so who knows if that's all going to work out. But yeah, so that's the idea there, is that the towers will reveal stuff to kind of keep heroes like Abathur and Murky more safe. Or the forts will, and keeps reveal stealth now, just like the core does. So yeah, that's what's going on there. A couple more big changes. Actually, this one's really big. and I think I actually am fully on board with this one. I think this one's really good, okay, which is they're going to standardize objective timings so that the first objective on every map will either begin at 1 minute 30 or at 3 minutes. So instead of having like different timers for every map, like, oh, because that's the thing, they're like, there might be 14. I don't have a monopod, but I'd love to get one, yeah. There's going to be 14 maps by the end of the year. That's a lot of maps. So someone new coming to the game would be like, Jesus, like, you know, the objective starts at 50 seconds on this one, 1 minute 10 on this one. It could be 1 minute 20 or 1 minute 50 or anywhere randomly in between on this one. There's all these different map timings. So that's a massive burden of knowledge, right? So I think this is a really good change. They'll be like, okay, either it's an early objective map, where the objectives will always start at 1 minute 30, or it's like a later objective map, so there's more laning phase, the objectives will start at 3 minutes. It'll be one of the two, so much, much more simple. I think that's quite nice. Niles, I don't know when the Immortal phases and Shrine starts. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, I don't know the specific timings for most things either myself. I know them by feel. I'm like, I need to Hearthstone now to be at the Immortal phase. I don't know the timings, but it's there, yeah. And then some maps, there's random starts at the moment. So it's going to be really standardized now, so it should be much more simple. They're also like, they're going to give 30 seconds warning before every objective. I don't know about Blackheart's chest, but presumably, yeah. But basically, they'll warn you way in advance. They'll be like, in 30 seconds time, the shrines on Infernal Shrines are going to start. Okay, so like you're like, probably Infernal Shrines might be 3 minutes into the game, I guess, but I don't know. It'd be like 2 minutes 30, it'd be like in 30 seconds, at the 3 minute mark, the shrines are going to start. And you can go fight that. They're also talking about making other things much more obvious. So, for example, they said on like Infernal Shrines, they'd be like, it's going to be the bottom shrine next. So they'll be like, okay, you just finished this shrine. It's going to be bottom shrine next. And then 30 seconds later, it'll be like, 30 seconds before that starts, it'll be like, okay, bottom shrine activating now in the next 30 seconds. So, yeah, that sort of stuff would be pretty interesting. I think it's cool. I actually really like this. I think it opens up a lot of options in terms of map play, right? Because you'd be like, oh, the bottom shrine on Infernal Shrines is going to be the next one. How about let's just push top really hard. Let's set up a really good push top. Let's take out the wall on top. Then let's take the mercenary camp on top. And then let's push in top of the mercenary camp. We've already taken out the wall. So we'll skip the shrine entirely. We'll do this like totally separate strategy. I think that's really cool. And it opens up those options because you'd know where the shrine's going to be. Whereas you can't really do that now. You can't like be like, oh, we'll commit to all this stuff top, and then, oh shit, well the shrine's in top. So they're just going to be there to cancel it. So yeah, I think that's really nice. That opens up a lot of interesting options in terms of map play, I think. So I'm actually really happy about this one. Simplifying map objective timer so people can learn that easily, and just construct strategies around it, and then letting things, kind of giving you more warning about where things are going to be. I like that. I think it's really good in terms of strategy, and could have a nice impact on pro play as well. Okay, then I think this is the final big change. And then a couple of things from the Q&A, which you guys would be interested in, like duo queue. The final like big change here is they're really buffing up merc camps and changing merc camps. So a few things that are going to happen. Number one, the knight camp is the caster minion. You know the dude with the staff in the knight camp, the one that you usually kill first because he's squishy. He's going to be really good now. He's going to give like its aura, this spell armor aura. So he'll give all of his allies near him spell armor. So number one, it probably makes taking the merc camp harder, but it makes pushing down the lane. It gives all the nearby minions and all the nearby heroes as well spell armor that are on your team. So it makes you pushing with that knight camp will suddenly be much more viable. Whereas at the moment, the knight camp is very much about split push. It's just like, oh, leave the knight camp to push and we'll go do other things. Now it'll be much more incentivized to push with it. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, the knight camp changes. It's going to give an aura. What else did they talk about? There's a siege camp. What was there? One more as well. I forget what the one more as well was. Okay, so the siege camp, I remember that one. The siege camp, they're going to change it so that you can always dodge their attacks. That's it, Zap Badger. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, it's Hellbat's reducing armor. I'll go to that in a second. So they're gonna have it. So at the moment with the siege camp, when the siege camp does ranged attacks, yeah, you can dodge it, which a lot of people don't know apparently. But yeah, you can dodge the range stuff. You can like stutter step around it and dodge it. You can't dodge their melee attacks. They're gonna change it so that you will always be able to dodge it. Yeah, the siege camps are basically catapults. So they're going to change it so you can always dodge the siege giants, even when they're in the jungle. So when you're taking the merc camp, you're fighting the siege giants and you want to capture them, you will be able to dodge every single one of their basic attacks if you do it right, which means that you can go in, fight the siege giant camp, and kill them without taking any damage if you do it right, and then have them push the lane. So that's pretty huge. That's pretty huge. Yeah, so there you go. That's a big change. Then the other big changes to the fire bats they were talking about. The fire bats, the hellbats. They're going to reduce their basic attacks will stack a stacking armor reduction. So things will take more damage. So that's what's going on there. A lot of people in chat here are asking about Hanamura. So they did mention Hanamura. And they said they're working on it and probably be back by the end of the year, bigger and better. But that's not really any details. But yeah, I mean, Hanamura is going to be back. I mean, we always knew it would be back. Of course it's going to be back. They'd hardly... They're just not going to develop all the art assets and then be like, yeah, no, fuck it. No, it's going to be back for sure. So hopefully soon. This is kind of the impression I get. It's Hellbat? Okay. So yeah. I think they're all the big... That's all the big news from this. It's all the big news. Now, a couple of other things. There was a Q&A right at the end, right, where people could ask questions. One question was, will they bring Duo Queue back to Hero League? They were like, no. No Duo Queue in Hero League. Hero League's going to be solo queue only for the foreseeable future, and they're going to try to keep improving Team League, so that's fine. I'm on board with that. I like it much better. People asked about commendations. Will there be any like votes, you know, like commend people at the end of the game? Be like, you were a nice person, you communicated well. Yeah, this is Life for America. Hello. I'm in California. Blizzcon is like 5-minute walk. I don't know. It's one of these ways. So like, will there be commendations? Like you can upvote people, not for the MVP system, but for like you did stuff well. And they said no. They'd like to, but no plans as of yet. And then I don't know if someone was watching, watch my quick, but someone asked a video. It was like the quick match question, like, are you going to change quick match matchmaking? Basically, a lot of the stuff I was saying in my quick match video. So I don't know if you're a viewer. Hello, I thought your question was great. Or else they might not be a viewer. They might have just come up with some of the same sort of ideas, which obviously other people have done as well. And Blizzard was like, yeah, no, we're not changing quick match. I was like, no. I'm so disappointed. I was so disappointed by that. I was like, Blizzard, please. So they said two things. They're like, we're not changing quick match. They had two reasons. And they tried to double whammy it, right? Very, very sneaky. They say, number one, they're like, well, it's the Wild West. And then number two, we looked at the changes and it would be too extreme, basically. They're like, the queue times would be too long. So basically they're going like, well, quick match is actually really good and be hard to change it, so don't really think about it. Now, again, as you guys know from those videos I did, I totally disagree on this, and I think at the very least they should give more incentives, right? I talked about giving incentives for people to play things. So the thing they said was, you know, like, oh, if we made a quick match need a tank or need a healer, we tested that out and we found that queue times would be really long. I'm like, well, you could test that out once you give incentives for people to play those roles more. Or just even don't change quick match and put in incentives like, oh, hey, there's not many people queuing as a tank. Would you like to play tank? We'll give you 50% bonus XP. Have fun. And then have more balanced games. Anyway, that's what I thought about that. But yeah, they had the two things that, number one, changing it would be difficult, which I think that's not totally accurate because they didn't really come up with that. And then point number two is that it's supposed to be kind of crazy, which is a bigger question, and that's subjective. Because, you know, some people will like it and some people won't. But anyway, I talked about that in a different video, so I won't talk about it here. But yeah, that's basically everything that was covered today. I'll throw it over to you guys for the last few minutes here, and then we'll wrap it up. I ended up talking way too long, as usual. Changes to ranked? No changes to ranked yet. Have I talked about performance-based points? Yes, performance-based matchmaking. I talked about that. Yeah, if you guys have any questions you want to ask or anything you want me to find out tomorrow, I have a developer interview so I can ask them questions. So if you guys want to throw any of that stuff my way, go ahead. Thoughts on Stealth Nerf along with True Sight? I covered that already. I'm not sure what to make of it. I have to see it in gameplay. I have to see what the heroes, what their reworks look like, their new abilities. I have to see what those are. But yeah. I don't know. It's pretty massive. So, yeah. Is there anything to dual role heroes? No. There's nothing about multi-class heroes at all. Nothing about roles either. Nope. They didn't mention anything to do with the role reworks. Changes to brawls. Nothing about brawls either. No. Nothing. As far as I know, there's no rework to Raynor. Can you mute other players' voice chat? Yes, you can. Yeah. You can also change the volume if they're too loud. Like if their mic's bad quality or something, you can lower the volume. So yeah. Kerrigan, I heard something about Kerrigan, but I'm not sure what it was. But I don't know. I'll look at that tomorrow. There might be. I don't know, though. How much more are you expecting to be announced for HOTS? That's it. I think that's everything they're going to announce. I don't think they'll announce anything else. They've already announced loads of stuff. HGC thoughts. I actually haven't seen any of it. I won't spoil any here either. I saw one result, so I was at the Heroes demo, and I was in the background. But yeah, I'm gonna watch some HGC. I'm really looking forward to watching HGC tomorrow. I'm gonna watch them probably tonight as well here in the hotel room. Watch the VODs. But yeah, haven't seen it. What about making the one lane map a game mode and random select hero? They probably don't want too many queues. Could I ask in the interview if minion/creep denial is going to be a thing and what their thoughts on it? Yeah, I'll ask that for sure, definitely. Talk about the invisible heroes. Yeah, so I already mentioned it, but yeah, so stealth is that's one controversial change, which has a big gameplay impact as well. Is that stealth heroes in their proposed change at the moment, which actually I don't think is playable in the demo. I think they said it's not on the demo here at BlizzCon. But if the stealth hero is standing still, that they're completely invisible, like no blur, nothing. They're just totally invisible. So it'd be like lay in wait in the lane or something. Prefer for stealth to be a total invisibility all the time, just be a lot rarer. Well, I mean, you can't really remove stealth from any of the stealth heroes. It's a crucial part of each of them, so you already have them. Ever visit your neck of the woods, Northern Ireland? Yep, it's great. I missed the next question, sorry. Oh, it's gone now, I think. Murky viability? Oh, that's nothing to do with this. I mean, any questions about BlizzCon? You're not going to see murky in HTC if you're asking that. I think this coffee's cold. Oh, yeah, so when are these changes taking effect? There we go. And probably actually end on this question. So they're talking about having a PTR. Okay, this is, they said this in the panels. That'll be the PTR, which would be near the end of November, near the end of this month. There'll be a 3-week PTR, which will go through the end of November into the start of December, and that they're looking to implement these changes for basically the next ranked season. Like performance-based matchmaking, they're like, we want this in for the next ranked season, which will be near the end of December. So yeah, that's sort of the timeline. Will I talk about WoW and other things later? I absolutely will. Not today, I don't think. I think I'll talk about WoW. I don't think I'll have time tomorrow, but when I get back, I'll talk for days about WoW. No problem. But yeah, I thought the WoW in short, I thought the WoW stuff looks cool. I'm pretty excited about it. But yeah, brief thoughts on the 2 new champs. Again, I'll talk about Alexstrasza tomorrow, but not Genji, Hanzo, the other one. Hanzo looks great. Yeah, Alexstrasza looks even better. I'm super excited to play Alexstrasza. First support we've ever had at BlizzCon, right? And she looks really, really interesting and exciting. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow as well. I'll do another stream similar to this tomorrow. It might not be the same time. Might be later because I want to stay around and watch the HTC final. I might even do a stream earlier in the day. I'm not sure. Stay tuned. I'll probably try schedule it up again as well. But yeah, that's the plan. Definitely a stream tomorrow as well, covering day 2 changes. So more info on the stealth reworks, more info on Alexstrasza, and then anything else that happens to be going on there as well. I'll have a developer interview tomorrow too, which I'm not sure if I'll be able to live stream. Depends on how good the Wi-Fi is at the convention. I might try. Otherwise, I'll record it and just upload it. But yeah, there'll be a short interview with one of the developers. I'll ask them about Minion Denial and stuff like that and their thoughts. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to ask them, isn't there? There is. So yeah, that's what's the Sufficient not answering In-N-Out? What is In-N-Out? I don't know what In-N-Out is, so no, I've not been. There's so many fucking food places near here. I shouldn't swear. God damn it. There's so many food places near here. I'm not that hungry. I had a really big breakfast. I'm not that hungry. I'm like, I might go out for food. I might not. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Good night, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I'm jet lagged and exhausted and tired. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in for what was a very long vlog. But yeah, there we go. Guys, see you all tomorrow. Good night. Bye.